I am Mark Stewart, and you can consider me an IED for increasingly embarrassed Democrat. Not with Democrat voters, we take the choices we're given, but with Democrat leaders who have plenty of choices, and of late, really 20 years worth, they have chosen despicably. Chosen policies that hurt Democrat voters, especially urban voters. Let me give reasons how Democrat leaders take advantage of urban voters. They offer some people welfare with no strings attached. That leaves them dependent. That hurts everyone in the community, most importantly, their kids. Their kids who see, hey, mom's on the couch, doesn't need to work, and just gets checks coming in. So why should a kid do well in school? Why should a kid endeavor to have a career of her own? Welfare puts them dependent on government, not on family, not on church, not on oneself. It's conservatism that actually helps family, church, and self. But Democrats don't like that, not at the leadership level. It leaves mothers without good fathers. Number two, Democrats offer public schools, but they're not often good schools. And in urban areas, they're usually bad schools, ones that parents would like to escape. But no, the leaders do not want that. Total choice in schools, merit pay for the better teachers, those are things that they object to over and over and over, and that hurts kids. Democrat leaders offer Social Security, but that leaves people with kind of a pittance. I mean, $1,500 does not go that far each month anymore. And yet people have been paying in over $10,000 a year. If that money were back in your pockets at the beginning, you could have invested and had far more than $1,500 a month. Money now that you could put towards private schools, towards vacation, towards starting a business is far more valuable to most people than the same money, maybe even a little more money, but 40, 50 years from now. Hey, Democrat leaders offer unemployment insurance. Sounds great, but it's not, because the 6% that you could have back could also be building up a stash. A husband and wife who've been working, say, for 15 years each, and let's say they collectively earn $100,000. The first $15,000 for each of them has been taxed at 6%. You have that back over 15 years. You got $30,000 plus interest, which probably takes you to 60 or 70 grand. After capital gains tax, you still got in the high 50s. That's more than unemployment would have given you over even 39 weeks. And who knows whether your state unemployment insurance is going to get funded for 39 more weeks. Democrat leaders, they offer Latino immigrants bilingual education. Sounds nice. Learn in your own language. Nothing could be more crippling to a student than learning only in his native language and not learning English. It is the language of culture and language of business. You can thrive with your own language, but not when you want to go into the rest of the world. And those people who insist on making English not immersion, but just a little go-along language, they are doing evil to those kids. Finally, your Democrat leaders, they have no problem with wiping out babies. And look who that really hurts. It puts Catholics in a quandary. Of late, having a baby seems old-fashioned. It puts African Americans into a different status. If over the last 2 generations, we had few abortions. Blacks would be nearly 30% of the population. They're about 12% now. Blame 2 generations of progressive advocates who say, oh, it's just like a cyst. It's part of your body. When no, it's a baby that is inside your body that you don't have the right to rip out. Meanwhile, the leaders, they live high and mighty. They tend to have no penalties when they do wrong. And they're not necessarily any wiser than us. I mean, they're the ones who've left us with huge deficits. They're the ones in Connecticut who spend 11 times the market value for a property because a donor owned it. And they're going to stoke the donor at our expense. They let an official in government spend $260,000 to redecorate her office. Okay? You and I would not be acting this way in our households. We need leaders who will treat our government at least as respectfully as their own household, and hopefully more. Okay? Most of us, when we go to another person's home, are even more respectful. Democrat leaders in this state have allowed multi-million-dollar severances to people who have done bad work. Democrats in this state have not taken away the pensions of people who do horrible things. That guy at the Whiting Institute who beat on a mentally ill patient over and over and over, he did get fired, but they have a pension regime that they can't pull away from him. He will make multiple millions of dollars on our dime, despite being a horrible person. They don't get fired. But we do. Or we get potentially jailed. When entrepreneurial folks in the inner city are selling weed, but get caught in a bust, they're going to the prison industrial complex, which, by the way, our leaders have managed to build up. There's some corporate interest that they're tied into that keeps decent people in jail and doesn't do very good for rehabilitation when it's time to get out of jail. Folks, the final indictment is, jailed or not, people who want to start a business anew are not able to under the restrictions that primarily Democrats do. They put small businesses in a quandary. Why? Because it gives leaders and bureaucrats more power to control. We got to end that. For the sake of every urban dweller, these rules have had their day. It's going to take a new set of leaders, I hope to be one of them, who will take the hammer to unfair, unnecessary laws. Laws should truly be made to protect safety, to ensure fairness, and we don't have that. Democrats of all folks should have been the ones to be ensuring fairness, and they've punted. Time to get rid of them. I'm one voice. There are others. Connecticut can head for a much better Connecticut if we wake up and stop just buying in to the plantation system. I'm Mark Stewart. Thank you for listening.